loves, welcome back to TigeraGitana. I am literally on my way to go to an event that I'm going to be reading for, and basically I thought it would just be a really good opportunity, like right now as I'm waiting for my girlfriend to pick me up in the car, to kind of make this video because it's Monday. It's usually the day that I upload the chakra healing videos, but since we're doing it monthly, it does feel a little bit weird not uploading. Like I felt it all day. I'm like, I want to upload a video for them, like why not? So it's like, where's my mind's been at? So we're gonna get on this topic because while I was asking Spirit, I was just like meditating, like, okay, if I'm not gonna be doing those videos, what should I cover today? And this is what came up. So this is gonna be a video on what to do when a tarot card is stalking you. And I know this is probably like a really random video, but there's a foundation to this, okay? Because a lot of time if you do read tarot, whether you're a novice or a professional, sometimes you will read for yourself every day, and then you'll notice that like sometimes, you know, you could have the same kind of card come out, or literally the same card come out in a question that you're asking. If you're like new to it and you're kind of like being stubborn and trying to read it again and the same card comes out again. If you're trying out different card layouts and the same energy or the same card comes out again, it's just like, it's like, okay, I'm starting to see a, you know, a pattern here. And so we're gonna just talk about it. This is gonna be a quick video, it's nothing too long, but I did want to talk to you guys about this topic because I've been reading tarot for years and years and years, and I love it as a divination tool, but it does have its own personality, okay? And first and foremost, when we're talking about what to do when a tarot card is stalking you, you do have to first identify, which should be very, very easy, which type of card is it? Is it a major arcana or is it a minor arcana? Okay. When you identify, after you identify what kind of card it is, then you can kind of get in a little bit deeper. So if in the first part of the reading, you know, you journaled, you wrote some notes down, you kind of try to relate it as to what you were going through that day, etc., and then the next day you read it again and boom, it came out again, and then boom, the next day, or like that week's energy forecast, you got it. If you saw somebody on Instagram that was pulling your signs or your thing for the week and you just happen to keep bumping into the same card, then you start kind of going into it a little bit deeper. And what I really would recommend is diving into deeper into the meaning and the interpretation for you. So a lot of people like to kind of read tarot like differently. Some people are by the book, which I'm not necessarily super keen to in following that kind of structure. I like to work with my intuition a lot, so I let the cards fall like they may, get the messages from Spirit, and additionally read the cards with what it's actually saying, like, because it's always a story that's coming up in front of me, so there's always just like, okay, so this is what's happening, and then boom, messages will start kind of rolling in after that. So depending on how you use tarot, the way you use tarot, it will kind of come up differently for you. Now, if for example you have what you would call quote unquote a positive card or a neutral-ish card coming up for you during a reading, but it's kind of stalking you, then there is something about it. You kind of have to look at the balance between the energy, okay? Because you have to bring it back into what it is that you're going through. If you're going through a situation where it's been a certain type of energy for a while, and then you keep getting the Strength card, and you're like, okay, I'm focusing on my personal power, I'm focusing on this, and then you keep getting the Strength card, then hey, you might be getting some upcoming challenges that will put those skills that you've been kind of flexing, those muscles that you've been gaining, to the test. They will test your strength, they will test your ability to maintain your composure, your power within those moments. So how is it that that's coming, how that's manifesting throughout, has it been manifesting for you throughout that week, throughout that month? If for example a more like the Magician comes up for you, and it's a really good time to, it's a really good thing to pay attention to astrologically, when it comes to tarot as well, because I notice a lot the Magician be popping off a lot when right when Mercury's about to go retrograde. The Magician just starts coming out in readings all over the place, and I'm just like, and it always be in reverse. This is why I'm always like, okay, so you were about to go through some things during Mercury retrograde, and this is kind of why it's coming up the way it's coming up. But there's like, when you're getting like these type of the I want to say neutral cards, they're not necessarily super positive, but they're not necessarily super negative either. So when you're getting like neutral cards, you really want to focus on what it is, what that neutrality is, because when you're looking at this type of symbolism here, it is talking about a scale. And if we look at the Justice card, or actually even this card, this scale that is being held right here, that the tool that is being held, that's literally at the limbo of where everything is kind of at, and then things will get weighted in. So you have to look at how the neutral cards are coming up for you, what these two balancing energies is that's going on in your life. What have you been noticing? What is your intuition telling you? What is spirit telling you in additional to all the messages? So for the neutral cards, you really just want to look at the balancing of the all situations involved, relationships involved, what is in balance, what is not balanced, why is it seeking to create, why does it seem like it could go both ways, like it's at a crossroads type of situation. It's a really important thing to pay attention to those neutral cards, because again, they can really go both ways, and then it tends to feel like you keep getting kind of this warning, like, hey, it's almost like you've been waiting online and your ticket number's you're about to be next, but there's 3 people in front of you, but they're telling you, hey, you're gonna have to make a decision, you're gonna have to choose which direction you're picking. And the neutral cards tend to be kind of very like a little bit elusive, so pay attention to the neutral cards. If, for example, the aces are the ones that are stalking you, you want to really think about what the meaning and the purpose of that ace is, what the element is. Very important to focus on the element. If the Ace of Wands is stalking you, you're definitely, it has to do with your journey, which means that it might take a really long time for it to affect you in a certain way. It also might, depending on how quickly you move through your journey, because remember, the journey is walked through by Aries, and Aries gets to things very quickly. So depending on your movements through addressing the energy that's coming towards you is the way that this ace might manifest through a longer period of time, or through a gradual period of time, or through like a quicker period of time. It could be something that happens quick, it could be like action that happens quick. It depends on how you are, how you take in that energy, how you transmute that energy, and it could be why it keeps showing up for you. It's like, hey, you still have, this is still the thing that you're going through, this is still why this energy is still around you, because you're still going through this. If you're getting, for example, the why did I just blank on the name? Oh my god, the Kings and Queens and Knights, I'm sorry. I'm just like, what the? The Kings and Queens and Knights and Pages of Life in Tarot. If you're getting that throughout the reading, pay attention with how the way they're coming up. Are they talking about you? Do you need to embody these energies more? If it's the Pages, that's definitely an intention coming out and developing into something else. If it's the Knights, is again growing and it could be also be people coming in. The Queens and the Kings are all definitely on a different level, so getting the Kings and the Queens repetitively, if you have been the one not being in this element, not being in control, for example, because when you're getting to King and Queen level in tarot, you are getting to a level of control. You have a level of control, you have a level of power, and level of kind of, you're able to dictate certain things to come to pass, and you know, make certain decisions. And yes, we all have that, but some people don't take it upon themselves to make some decisions. They leave it upon other people. So is this you, or is this somebody else? Or is it giving you the kind of green light to embody this kind of energy, or are you supposed to seek that in other people? Are you needing to that person to come in to be that type of archetype? So it really can go in different ways when it comes to the Kings, Queens, Pages, and Knights. Now when it comes to, like, for example, this kind of thing, getting it in a reading repetitively can be very annoying if you're not in a relationship, because it's just like what So is it coming? What is coming? What kind of relationship is it? What do I need to worry about it? Is it good or bad? Is it going to be balancing out? You see all the questions that I just started asking, because this is not just, oh my God, relationship. It's definitely a partnership and two people coming together, but you don't know what the energy surrounding this is until you read. And if it keeps popping up in the reading, it's like, okay, how is this person going to affect me? Is this a negative relationship? Is this a positive relationship? What is being called in here? Is this for my highest and greatest good? And you really have to kind of then follow up and clarify these type of cards when you're getting kind of like it's like a little bit like mysterious, because then you're just like, okay, I'm not sure where this is going, why I feel like it's going into a direction, I'm not sure, but okay. The next thing, like when you're getting, for example, like if the Wheel of Fortune is stalking you, it really depends on the cards around it and the question that's being asked. If it's like your daily reading, then or like your daily card pull that you do, then that's like a little bit of a different story, because the Wheel of Fortune, again, the wheel can turn good or positive. It really depends. And it does require a lot of time clarification, because the wheel can be both good and bad. Again, there's like kind of like this, that in between, you don't know where it's going energy. There's some cards that it's just kind of like you feel like you kind of know them. And there's most cards can be like, wait, what you mean though? So you have to clarify the energy. So with these type of like major arcanas where you're just like, okay, things are changing, things are moving, things are progressing. Are they progressing in a place that's going to benefit me? And this is where you want to clarify cards. So you want to seek balance when things are kind of in the middle and when you're at the crossroads, when the cards are stalking you. When things keep telling you, hey, things are moving forward now, you want to clarify on how they're moving forward. Okay, so how you're basically healing and reacting to those cards when they pop up for you. The one that I wanted to talk about was, where it at though? Like, for example, the Two of Swords. If the Two of Swords keeps popping up for you in a reading, it depending on what the reading is, because like again, if it's your daily reading and you just keep getting the Two of Swords, you might be blocking your intuition, or you might be getting blinded to something very temporarily for your own highest and greatest good, depending on how you work your magic. So you want to pay attention to these kind of like intuitive kind of cards, because the twos are ruled by the High Priestess, and having the Two of Swords is just like intuition on block. You're not paying attention. Like, that's why the moon is in the back. She's blindfolded. She's not trying to get the messages. The swords are in her hands. She has chosen not to listen to the messages. She's sitting down and not hearing it. Okay, she doesn't want to know. So this is a very cautionatory card as well, depending on what the question is. So if you keep getting stalked by this, it might mean that you are not supposed to know the information moving forward. Like if you're trying to clarify and you keep getting this, maybe you're not supposed to know right now. Maybe Spirit doesn't want you to be reactive to the message that they will give you based on this. Like you might overreact. You might have a negative point of view. You might need to do more like healing work, more third eye work in order to kind of release this kind of energy. So it really depends which card it is that's stalking you. Like if you're getting this card, immediately you could be like, oh my God, I need to go call my tribe, call my friends, call my coven, and like we need to do something, because obviously I'm getting pulled into the collective. Why are you getting pulled into the collective? Are you going to be doing more collective work in the next upcoming weeks, the next upcoming months? Have you been hermiting for a bit? It really depends. You have to really look at yourself, especially when your daily readings tends to be like, okay, a reflection of today, but they could be really talking about collectively what's going on around you as well. I can't talk today. Going on around you as well. So you need to pay attention to that kind of energy, because you don't necessarily, this could be also that you maybe be partying out too much, or maybe there's some sort of third party situation, maybe there's a group situation going on, maybe you're not being included, but it depends on how you clarify what the energy is around you, what the question that's being asked is. And for these type of cards, you do want to clarify the energy. If it's for your daily reading, for that day, you might need to seek collectiveness, be a part of the collective, show up with the collective. Stuff like that would be, it's also with the Three of Pentacles as well. that would require a little bit more of a push. When, like, for example, this kind of card stalks you, so this, when it comes to these like successes cards, like popping up, like the 9 of Pentacles, the 6 of Wands, the 4 of Wands, the like 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups, and you're just like, is litty, like I'm cute, like everything's cute, like I'm getting there, I'm doing the thing, I'm working hard. When these type of things, when these type of cards are kind of stalking you, you want to make sure that you're, yes, like get the positive messages out of it, but you have to also realize that when these kind of cards are popping up for you, they're a reminder that you're trying to maintain a certain standard within yourself. And if the certain standard that you kind of set for yourself is to have this kind of amount of greatness and like live up to this greatness and the abundance that you've been manifesting towards yourself, you do have to maintain it. You do have to, like, hey, by the way, this is what we're working on. This is how your magic has been manifesting. We're on this level. Please continue to do that work. Please continue to stay within your power. Like, don't dwindle, especially with the cards surrounding it. You just want to make sure when cards like this, because the positive cards people don't complain about getting stalked by, the negative cards people go up the wazoo to talk about. But you want to look at the positive cards as well, because this could also be a negative thing. What if you're just being really egotistical? What if you're just like in your high horse and you're just not letting other people, like, you're kind of taking up too much space within rooms that you shouldn't be taking up too much space in. Maybe you are kind of like outshining in some areas where you could let other people collectively come in and shine as well. You can all shine together. It really depends on what the question is, what the clarifying messages are as well. It really depends on who you are, what your vibe is, and it requires a level of honesty when you're trying to seek the truth of why the cards are stalking you as well, because you do have to swallow that bullet. If it's a negative thing, it's a negative thing. If this kind of card, okay, let's look up some of the negative cards. If this kind of card is following you, what is your relationship with money? Why, what's going on around you that's like kind of bringing this energy into your space, into your day, into your week? Like, why is this haunting you? What is the fears that you have surrounding this? You want to really look at the card, look at the messages, look at how they make you feel, look at what it reminds you of. What does it trigger? A situation, a memory, and because you can literally have different connections with different cards based on the way they look, like different artwork. When you go to the museums, you get connected to certain artworks based on the way they look. There's like a connection there. It's the same thing with these type of cards, especially with the negative cards, because you will be surprised what you're like stuck on just because you have, like, when you were little you couldn't save any money, so now when you're an adult you still have some issues there. So as much as you're like trying to, you know, do your thing with money and you've been getting some, the mentality could be that you still, oh, but am I ever going to be able to save? Am I ever going to be able to like do this, achieve this, all this stuff, and have like some weaker parts in your consciousness that's kind of, instead of it being an abundance mentality, is a more of a negative mentality. So you do want to pay attention to it from all type of levels. Now, the last one that I'm going to talk about, because I think you guys for the most part have gotten the gist of what I'm trying to say, is the Tower. Just because the Tower is like, you know, it's one of those cards that, you know, if it's stalking you, you immediately like, oh no, oh my god, not today, why? Because it's the Tower. The Tower is not necessarily a fun part, but when you're looking at the Tower, you do want to look at the astrological connection to the cards. You want, oh, hold on, I'm go, hi, come on, we gotta go. Okay, I'm going. Oh. Hi, YouTube! Oh my god. I was waiting for you.
I texted you.
Oh, sorry. I had it on this.
Well, that's your fault.
Well, I had to. I'm not trying to feel the video. Okay, we wrapping up. And I'm not editing this, so I guess it's staying that way.
Honey, is that yours?
The what?
That thing that's on the floor.
What thing that's on the floor?
Come by the floor.
I didn't leave anything by the floor. What? No, that's the thing that kills the rats. Like I told you at the beginning of this video, I was waiting for my girlfriend to pick me up. So, the Tower, really quickly. So, I'm sorry about that. But so the Tower. This is when you really want to look at like what's going on astrologically. What are your transits? Okay, when it comes to major arcanas, you want to look at everything, all of your resources, especially because a lot of the major arcanas are associated with planets and astrological signs. So you want to look at your planets. You want to look at what Uranus is doing, how Mars is behaving in your chart. You want to look at what Saturn is doing as well, because this is like a foundation that's just kind of getting ripped apart. So what thing is going on or has been kind of like, what has your intuition been telling you that's kind of getting pushed out? You want to really look at how you're reacting to things, okay, especially in your life when the universe is trying to take something out of your life, and how you actually process that, because it might actually, for you, you could have a tougher time. You're like, no, I want to hold on to that. I don't want that to go away, and it could just be like blowing up in your face. So just be mindful. Look at the definitions. You can look at the book and read the book as well. But ultimately, look at the definitions. Look at how the cards makes you feel. Clarify the cards. Look at the neutrality of the cards, positive and negative, and then I would say ask spirit for messages as well, so then you're able to really know why a card is stalking you and learn the lesson so you can move on with your life, because that's the whole point. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this hot mess.
Peace!
I can't. Bye. I can't.
Hi, I'm TigeraGitana, and I'm here to read your fortune. I'm pulling out the cards out of the deck, and the one I get is, looks like some tied up shit in some situation. You gotta make sure you be careful. I don't know what this means, but it looks bad, so be careful.
I could not.
And then I got Rey de Bastos, I think. I'm guessing
It's a king of wands.
King of Wands. So I mean some good shit coming through. That means you a queen or a king. Get your life together and do what you gotta do to beat this royalty. Why are you laughing? And then I got some dude helping push a boat. And I'm guessing he's trying to push you to the right directions, to the chaos and the drama that's in your life. Make sure you keep heading in the right direction and stop listening to all that bullshit. And the last card of the day is the Hermit, right?
Yeah.
The Hermit. And I think he's just like, he's the wizard, and he's just like, live your life, I guess. I don't know. All right. Thank you for watching. Bye, YouTube.